Nobody could have predicted that this poor child would one day build some of the most expensive automobiles in the world when he first started messing around with engines. His name is Frederick Henry Royce, and he was born in Wilton, England, in 1863. Henry was the last born of 5 siblings. James and Mary, his parents, owned and operated a flour factory. James had followed his father into business, although he was not very good at it. Due to low earnings, the Royces struggled financially for a long time. As their financial situation deteriorated further in 1867, they filed for bankruptcy in an effort to start again. They uprooted and headed for London. Henry, at age 4, had already experienced his first by this point. His weekly salary as a bird scarer on a nearby farm was only 6 pence. Then, in 1872, another catastrophe occurred. Henry has lost his father. Even 9-year-old Henry had to pitch in now to help the family make ends meet. He started out by delivering telegrams and selling newspapers. Henry was profoundly impacted by his time spent living in poverty as a child. Having just finished his first year of school by the time he reached 15, he took an apprenticeship at the Great Northern Railway Works. Henry's aunt had helped him out financially, so he used the chance to learn algebra, French, and electrical engineering in his spare time, despite not having a formal education. Yet after 3 years, he had to leave because of financial difficulties. Henry ended his apprenticeship and went to work for the Electric Light and Power Company in London, where he stayed for a while before moving on to another job. His next relocation was to Liverpool in 1882. While he remained employed at Electric Light and Power, his ultimate career goal was to work in engineering. On the other hand, he and his buddy and fellow engineer Ernest Claremont launched a firm when he was just 22 years old. F.H. Royce and Company was chosen as the company's name. And over the following few years, they toiled night and day to produce electrical devices like dynamos and doorbells. As time went on, the business grew to the point that by 1894 electric cranes were being produced. Nevertheless, Henry's attention began to shift. The automobile. Notwithstanding the importance of Henry Royce to the Rolls Royce tale, the name of the company itself implies that there is another figure we must not overlook: the Charles Stuart Doctrine. Born in 1877 to rich parents in London's Berkeley Square, Lord and Lady Longatak's youngest child was named Charles Roll. Early interest in engineering led to his pursuit of a degree in mechanical engineering from Trinity College, Cambridge. Charles, known for his engine tinkering, understood how to stand out. The first student at his university to acquire an automobile, he bought a 1937 Phaeton in Paris when he was 18 and received the moniker Dirty Rolls as a result. As most people hadn't even heard of vehicles at the time, this was quite rare. Following his 1898 graduation, Charles first worked on a steam yacht before moving on to the London and Northwestern Railway. His passions were in automobiles, exploration, and sales. In spite of this, in 1903, he launched one of the first automotive dealerships in Britain with the help of financial backing from his father. His business was called C.S. Rolls and Company. For the subsequent 2 years, he focused exclusively on bringing Puja and Minerva into the country and marketing them to customers. When business picked up, Charles put the extra cash towards his many athletic endeavors. He was not only a trailblazer and racer in the world of automobiles, but also an enthusiastic pilot. Both of these pastimes are obviously quite expensive. For Charles, though, the price of his lifetime obsession was far more than monetary. F.H. Royce and Company was his firm, and he ran it as CEO. Henry's fascination in automobiles grew over time. After purchasing a used 2-cylinder Decauville and deciding he wanted more, he set out to design and construct his own automobile in 1901. After discovering flaws in the Decauville's construction, Henry was driven by an innate need for perfection and resolved to fix them. By the end of 1903, he had built his first petrol engine, and by the beginning of the following year, he was driving about town in his first Royce 10-horsepower motor vehicle. 2 decades had passed since Henry founded the company. His first car had proven successful, so he set out to design and build a second. Henry eventually produced 3 cars in total. He gave one to his business partner Ernest Claremont and sold the other to Henry Edmunds, a shareholder in the company. Henry Edmunds was the one who had initiated the meeting between Rolls and Royce. After purchasing one of Royce's automobiles, Henry Edmunds, a friend and stakeholder in Royce's company, began bragging about it to Rolls. Rolls was dissatisfied at the time, since his business could only offer imported goods. So Edmunds set up a conference call. Edmunds had no idea that this encounter would forever alter the auto industry. Royce's 2-cylinder automobile made a great impression on Rolls, who had hitherto chosen 3- and 4-cylinder vehicles. The moment he laid eyes on it, he knew it was the one. After taking the motor car for a spin, he immediately committed to buying as many vehicles from Royce as the company could produce. It was an odd couple, the 2 males. There was not just a significant generational divide, but also an educational one. To begin with, Rolls was just 26, whereas Royce was 41. The young actors had attended the elite Trinity College, but Royce had learned much of his trade on his own. Would Rolls and Royce get along, given that Rolls spent his early adulthood racing around in his flashy cars and Royce worked hard to make ends meet? While Henry Royce and Charles Rolls were extremely different individuals, they worked well together. The Rolls-Royce Corporation was founded in 1906, when the automobiles became an instant hit. Afterwards, the Silver Ghost, with 6 cylinders, was introduced. Within a year, it had gained worldwide recognition as a top-tier vehicle. Impressive. They might also credit Charles's companion for this development. Building a brand calls for. Charles's business colleague, Claude Johnson, stepped into the job of managing director, while Henry and Charles focused on production and sales of motor vehicles. Being the public relations mastermind that he was, he understood how critical it was to elevate the company's profile. One of his earliest advertisements for the 40 to 50 horsepower motor vehicle featured a series of pranks he arranged to showcase the quietness and reliability of Rolls-Royce motor cars. The Rolls-Royce with 6 cylinders is the best automobile in the world, not just one of the best. Claude's commercial was the first to use the phrase now commonly associated with the Rolls-Royce brand. That had a tremendous impact. It proved Rolls-Royce's superior performance and sparked interest in their innovative engineering throughout the world. And Claude was so important to Rolls-Royce that he was sometimes referred to as the hyphen in the company's name. Of all, advertising can only take you so far, which is why Henry and Charles focused so much on producing high-quality products. Henry in particular, though, showed a talent for going above and beyond the call of duty. Henry had a reputation as a tireless worker who seldom took breaks for meals. His health suffered greatly as a result of his choices, yet remarkably, he outlived his business partner Charles by 2 decades. Charles's love of flying became stronger as time went on, and he became known as Daredevil. He even suggested that Henry create an aero motor, but Henry was not interested in pursuing his passion for flight. Charles invested in a Wright Flyer aeroplane and logged over 200 flying hours on it. In 1910, he made history by completing the first ever non-stop double crossing of the English Channel. But a month later, at a flying demonstration in Bournemouth, everything changed. Tragically, Charles perished in a plane crash. He was young, barely 32. As he passed away at such a young age, the brief cooperation between Rolls-Royce and the British government ended. Henry would have to carry on their work without them. Henry's work ethic and creativity were both hardwired into him. Rolls-Royce is well known for its high standard of engineering and construction. He was adamant that his fundamental philosophy of developing the greatest design with the finest materials and the highest standards of craftsmanship be adhered to at all times. According to him, you should always aim for excellence. If what you want already exists, use it. If not, create it. Plan it out. During World War I, the firm grew in response to Charles' request that they start making aero engines. and it continued to thrive for the next 2 decades. Henry's health problems persisted, and he passed away in 1993 from a digestive system infection. His early years of inadequate nutrition and his lifetime of overwork ultimately led to his death. The fact that he spent much of his latter years as a semi-invalid didn't dampen his never-ending excitement for engineering, and he worked right up until the day he died. A few hours before he passed away, he created his final sketch from his hospital bed. He was in his 70s. Rolls Royce is still a well-known brand in the engineering industry. With over 130 outlets in over 40 countries, the Rolls Royce name is well known even outside of its home country of Britain. Although BMW now owns Rolls Royce, the company is still best known for its luxury vehicles, such as the $1 million Rolls Royce Cullinan. Since 2010, Ghost, Phantom Wraith, and Dawn Torsten Müller-Ovos have served as the company's CEO, and their leadership has been crucial to the development of the business. Rolls-Royce has always been a symbol of undiluted riches, but it was Sir Henry Royce and Sir Charles Rolls who had the foresight to make it what it is today. There's a hunch that 2 guys would be. How familiar were you with the various names associated with Rolls-Royce? And what would you add to the history of the company's past? If you like this video, please subscribe to Think Insider and share it with your friends.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it